Hello everybody, it's Just Joe here once again. We're doing a retrospective video on The Division. Now there's been a lot of videos out there with good and bad things to say. I had agreed with most of these. Some of these I wonder if they played the same beta that I did because they made some very uneducated comments about the game. So we're just going to go back and remedy some of those and tell you exactly what's going on. Now the first thing is people are saying it's like Destiny. It's not really like Destiny. It's more like Gears of War with an RPG, but we'll get into that a little bit. Other people have said that it is an MMO when it is not. It is a shared world shooter. When you're out in the world, you do not see 1,000 other players playing in the same game space as you. Well, you pretty much just there yourself unless if you have a party. If you join your friend's party, you actually get migrated over to his gameplay space. If people join your party, they come to your gameplay space. Now, with that said, it's not an MMO, it's a shared world. Rumor has it there's going to be some 8-man raids towards the end of the game, but as I said, that's rumor right now. And as I said, this is just the beta, so any really opinions I make or any other people's opinions you hear on this is based on the beta and not the actual game. So as we get into it, as soon as this loads, we're going to start with the menus and the RPG system. There we go. So I'll start with the gorgeous scenery. I'll get into the visuals later or the graphics later. A lot of people have been complaining about that. But there's a lot of things going on beneath the surface that we'll get into. So right now with the beta, a lot of things are locked. They probably only gave us the first 5% of the game. If not 5, probably 10. Group management tabs. Rumor has it there's going to be clans and units and stuff that you can form, so that'd be pretty cool when that happens. But as of this time, there is no word on that. Now, the map, we'll get into the map later, and the map's pretty cool. It shows the locations of your friends, even though they're not in your world. It just still shows where they're at. It's like Kiku right there. Wasn't in my game, playing on his own. So, news, abilities. Now the abilities is interesting. There's a lot of people saying the game doesn't have too many abilities, but that's not true. In the beta, we only have 4 abilities that they unlock for you. Even though, as you see, you have, 2, 4, 6, 8 abilities left that are able to unlock. And each one of those abilities have 4 different traits you can put on them. So it really is a deep system as far as it comes to abilities. Now, I really want that Seeker Mine. That's going to be my baby when I can get it. Now, at the bottom of these trees, there's also links. There's Survival Link, Heal Link, and some other sort of link that I didn't see. I'm also interested to see how those fit into the game because there's not really any information on those yet. But there's a bunch of abilities that you can get in the beta. Now, the talents we can't even see, and the abilities we can't even see, but as you could see, there was a lot of them that can be unlocked. Now, the inventory really gets into where it comes into an RPG. You get 3 gun slots, 6 inventory slots. Each piece of your armor, if it has a mod slot, can be modded. They didn't get into that as well. But each armor piece can come with +5 to pistol damage, plus 109 to marksmanship rifle damage, more better chance of headshots and all that other stuff. That boosts your attributes. Now, in this attribute page, I really wanted to spend more time and kind of look into it, but I didn't get a chance in the closed beta. Hopefully going to spend more time with it in the open beta. But yeah, as you see, there's a bunch of different stats that your armor and your weapons can augment. Weapon damage, critical hit damage, critical hit chance, headshot damage. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that allows you to build your character exactly how you want to play it. I noticed in the Dark Zone a lot of people built their players as tanks, so I kind of went the opposite way and built mine as a DPS to try to get through their armor. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different options for you how to build your character, something that Destiny did not provide us with. Pretty much you had DPS, tank, and healer. Or no, healer was not even, it was a warlock ability. But yeah, pretty much it spans a deeper depth than Destiny has. So it's definitely a deeper RPG system, that which really makes it a thinking man game. I mean, especially in the Dark Zone, when it comes down to it, it's not just going there and capture the flag, it's going there and being in an active environment that changes periodically. I mean, you could go in there to, kill some NPCs, and it turns out that there's a rogue close to you that you want to go hunt, or you can go rogue yourself. So it's really an ever-changing situation in the Dark Zone. But the Dark Zone set aside, there's probably conversation there for a whole nother video about the Dark Zone. But yeah, so as you see, there's a lot to do. I mean, right now I'm on the exploration tab. I mean, there's a lot to do in this game. I mean, even though there's not a lot of shooting, at least in the starting zone, which was one of my concerns, there's still a lot of stuff that you can do. Now, here's just some people were complaining that there wasn't enough stuff to collect in the game. And here's my point. You not only do you have the grenades, your consumables that you have to collect, but you also have crafting sources. I think those people miss the crafting sources, because the crafting sources, when you find them, they appear on your map, and you can go and collect them, and every 2 hours they refresh, and you can go back and collect them. The crafting source is pretty much is used for your crafting menu that they did not allow us in beta. But there's a bunch of stuff to collect in this game if you look for it. A lot of the crafting stuff and a lot of the consumables and stuff like that weren't just put out in the middle of the street for you to find. They were actually in buildings or off to the side where you had to go look for them. So there is a lot of stuff to break up not only the combat but the traveling. Apparel is one of them. So now, as far as the graphics go, the graphics are good. I enjoy them. I mean, they're not crisp and clean like we're used to, but they're gritty and they're kind of run down, just like the world we live in. Now, the thing that I find most appealing about this is the world that they have created. They have put up a lot of signs, a lot of little background story, like the president you see there talking. A lot of these little minor details that really make you feel like you're living in this post-apocalyptic or post-outbreak world. I mean, all the NPCs look run down, and there's pots and pans of garbage all over the place. So the graphics can suffer because of that. Now, this is one of the coolest things that I ran by about 100 times before I actually stopped and looked at it. This memorial really not only reinforces the feeling and the loss that people have suffered in this world, but is actually a real cool thing to put in there, since historically we have seen these shrines and these monuments appear when there's a tragedy or when there's a epidemic happen. So, I mean, people will probably run by that 100 times. It's in the first base you come to. That's actually at the starting base. But it's a really cool thing that most people just ran by. Now, that said, there's a lot of stuff running in the background that they probably had to kick down the graphics for, which I'm totally okay with. And a lot of people have missed not only the weather effects, the lighting effects, and other stuff that they probably had to tone down the graphics for, but there's a lot of stuff happening in the background. For instance, rat birds fight. I spook them here, but if you look at them, the rat and the bird are fighting naturally. So they probably kind of took the system from Far Cry and also put in this game, so there are dogs and birds, and the cats and birds will be fighting and interacting with each other. Now, the one concern that I do have with the game that other people have mentioned is, once you get everything done, for instance in the beta, once you get things done that they provide you, there's really nothing to do in Chelsea. I mean, there's a few random encounters that you can get into, but other than that, running around and collecting stuff, there's really nothing to do. Now we're going to take a look. Oh, I guess I move a little forward here. But like, once you get the side quests done and all the little extra stuff they give you, there's not really a lot to do. Now, I understand that, because they gave you the starting area. In any video game or any, thing you do when you first start playing, they're not going to throw a bunch of enemies at you. They're not going to, put you in the end game, world to start you off with. And not only that, but if they're going for a more realistic game, this area is the closest to your base of operations. So pretty much, you're in a safe zone. You're in a JTF-controlled, JTF-occupied area. Hopefully later on in the game, as you start getting farther and farther away from your base of operations, the streets start getting a little unsafer. They start getting a little more unruly and a little more Wild Westy, which I think they do because there's probably parts of the city that are Riker controlled or Lost Man Battalion controlled, where it's going to be constant combat trying to get through those areas. But as I said, after you got everything done in the beta, there wasn't really a lot to do. Now, as you see here, this is the gameplay area they gave us in the beta. Probably a quarter of the world, and hopefully they do something to where if you complete an area after a 24-hour period, the quest respawn and you can go do them again. Because as I said, there is a big concern with getting everything done in an area and then having nothing to do in that area except for, you know, cruise around trying to find everything. But the map does look relatively big. Not really too, what's the word I'm looking for? Sure that it's going to be as huge as people are thinking, but it's going to be a decent size, and as long as they jam pack it full of things for us to do, I'm okay with it not being massive. Now, the map's kind of confusing because some of these buildings you can go into, other buildings you can't. I wish they would designate a little better on your map which buildings you can enter, because it really is confusing when you look at your map and try to go into a building that they won't let you into. So it would be nice if they put an indicator saying that you can get into this building, or just some visual cue saying that this building is you're able to enter. Now that we're done with that, as I said before, the game is really an intelligent men shooter. It really punishes you for being out of cover. It really punishes you for being reckless. Now, with that said, in this video, as you see, I'm level 8, and most of these guys that I'm going to fight here are like level 2 or lower level than me, so they're not really a big concern, but they still take a relatively big chunk out of my health. Now, I'm using my pistol to make it a little more entertaining for me, but my M1 can one-shot these guys no problem. So now the combat is really, I wouldn't say unique, because people have done cover-based shooters before, but the different types of enemies they throw at you in different scenarios really make it, yeah, that guy just hit me with a baseball bat, really make it interesting. And if I wasn't so overpowered there, that guy probably would have taken 1 or 2 points of my health, or sections of my health bar away. But I hope that cleared some of the things up, some of the bigger questions that you guys had. I'm really looking forward to not only the open beta, but to the game releasing. I'm Jadis Joe. Like, subscribe if you like this video, but more importantly, have fun and be safe. Thanks for watching.